The air above the Swedish Lapland was razor-sharp, thin and biting, whispering over the silent snow-covered pines like the breath of forgotten ghosts. It was February, the heart of the season, when the sun was just a dim silver eye over the horizon, barely gracing the day with light before retreating behind the mountains. North of Kiruna, past abandoned Sami settlements and across ancient forests where no bird sang, ran a winding, ice-caked road leading to the popular Fjellstad ski resort. For years it had attracted adrenaline junkies, influencers, and rich tourists looking for isolation, adventure, and pristine snow. But the road itself, Route E347, had gained a darker kind of fame. The 1-kilometer tunnel that punched through Mount Jokkmokk was now spoken about in hushed voices in nearby villages. Officially called the Grimsvatten Tunnel, locals simply called it the Hollow. Over the last 15 years, 32 vehicles had vanished inside it. No debris, no blood, no tire marks, just gone. Snowplows that entered never returned. A police cruiser investigating a tourist disappearance vanished with its 2 officers. Dashcams blacked out the moment headlights entered the tunnel. What remained on footage was always the same: a flicker of static, a metallic groan, and then darkness. Urban legends grew faster in frozen soil than roots. Theories ranged from structural collapse to localized magnetic fields. Geologists, physicists, psychics, even a Swedish YouTuber with over 5 million subscribers had tried to expose the tunnel's secrets. None came back. Only 2 vehicles ever emerged from the other side. Both drivers were found inside, frozen solid, eyes wide open in terror. The Swedish government cordoned off the tunnel with barriers and warning signs. But each year, a few still dared. Adventurers, non-believers, idiots. They saw it as a challenge, a rite of passage, a way to gain instant viral fame. On February 12, 2025, at 4:17 p.m., for university students from Stockholm, Eric, Sophie, Jens, and Annika decided to drive through the hollow. They were bundled in thermal coats, their SUV outfitted with reinforced tires and emergency gear. Eric was a skeptic and aspiring filmmaker. He had installed 6 GoPros inside and outside the vehicle and carried a drone. He wanted evidence, proof that it was just cold, just a road, just fear in the minds of bored villagers. The approach to the tunnel was breathtaking. Snow-laden trees bent under their own weight. The sun dipped into a bruised horizon. The black opening of the tunnel loomed like the open mouth of an ancient beast. Its entrance was framed in jagged rock. "Ready?" Eric asked, already grinning. Sophie shivered, but nodded. Jens rolled his eyes. Annika said nothing. She clutched a silver pendant her grandmother gave her and whispered something in Finnish. They drove in. The GoPros recorded. First, only darkness. Then the interior lights flickered. Static. The radio snapped on without anyone touching it. A slow, droning hum came from the speakers, like Gregorian chants slowed to a crawl. Sophie looked back. The tunnel behind them was gone. Eric laughed nervously. Okay, that's weird. The engine coughed. Lights on the dashboard began blinking. The air turned thick, humid despite the cold. Breath misted unnaturally, hanging too long in the air. Then they heard it. A knock. Not from the sides, not the back, above them. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on the roof of the SUV. Then silence. Eric hit the gas. The car didn't respond. The speedometer needle spun wildly, 0 to 100 to 0. Headlights dimmed, then flared white hot. Something passed in front of the vehicle. Not a shadow, not an animal. A figure, barefoot, tall, face covered in pale strips of cloth like old burial wraps. Its hands dragged along the tunnel wall, leaving no marks but a sound like nails on a chalkboard. Sophie screamed. Jens tried to open his door. It wouldn't budge. Annika clutched her pendant tighter. The car began to move. On its own. Slowly. Eric had taken his hands off the wheel, panic draining the color from his face. The chant on the radio grew louder. Words, incomprehensible, yet familiar, like ancient Old Norse. The tunnel pulsed with light now. Faint flashes along the wall, as if veins were carrying bioluminescent blood through the stone. Then came the whispers, not from outside, from inside the car. They were in the ventilation system, the glove compartment behind the seats. Multiple voices. Children, elders, crying, laughing, pleading. The air turned sour. Suddenly, Anika began to speak. Not scream, not cry. Speak, in a voice that was not hers. The price was never paid. The land demands blood. The veil thins. Let the old gods through. Her eyes were pitch black. Sophie passed out. Jens tried to smash the window with a flashlight. It bounced back as if he'd hit reinforced steel. Eric reached for Anika. Her skin was ice. The car jolted to a stop. Dead silence. Before them, the tunnel opened into a vast, impossible space. A cathedral carved in ice. Floating stones glowed blue, suspended in place. Thousands of faces stared from the frozen walls, trapped souls. Their eyes moved. A figure descended, not walking, floating. It wore a crown of icicles. Its chest was a hollow cavity filled with swirling snow. Its mouth didn't move, but they heard its voice in their bones. "You are the 33rd offering. Welcome to the Hollow." Eric screamed. The GoPros recorded everything until the footage went white. 2 days later, their SUV was found on the far side of the tunnel by a snowplow driver who dared to peek in. The car was empty, doors locked from the inside. The battery was dead. On the windshield, written in frost, "No more blood." Authorities towed the vehicle. Video footage from the GoPros was reviewed by Sweden's intelligence agency. The recordings were corrupted. The only intact image was a single still frame, Eric's terrified face, staring into the camera, mouth open, eyes pitch black. The tunnel was sealed with military-grade concrete and buried under explosives. It was declared unstable, prone to collapse, off-limits for eternity. But on some nights, if you walk far enough up the icy trails near Jokkmokk and press your ear to the ground, you'll hear the wheels of a car that doesn't exist. And the whispers of the 33 who never left. In Sweden, they don't talk about the Hollow anymore. They listen.